Welcome back to the deep dive. Usually we're wading through, heavy reports, market trends, all that. But today we're doing something a little different.
It's a bit more personal.
A lot more personal. We're tackling a skill that I know so many of our listeners are, obsessed with mastering. We're looking at a specific psychological way to train your brain to actually think in English.
It's a fantastic topic. And looking at our source material today, we're not just talking about learning English in the traditional sense.
You mean grammar drills?
Right. No grammar drills, no memorizing flashcards, and definitely not, conjugating verbs until you fall asleep.
Oh, thank goodness for that. I think most of us have some trauma from high school language classes.
Exactly. This is really about neuroscience. It's psychology. It's about rewiring how your brain actually processes reality.
I think anyone who's ever tried to learn a second language knows exactly why this is so needed. The sources talk about this really specific, painful feeling. They call it the spinning wheel.
Mm-hmm. The buffering icon in your brain.
Yes. You're in conversation, someone asks you something, and you know the answer, you have the words, but your brain just freezes. It feels like an old computer from the 90s trying to load a 4K video.
That buffering is just incredibly frustrating.
It's worst. And by the time your brain finally loads the sentence, the conversation has moved on. You're just left standing there with this perfect sentence for a conversation that ended 2 minutes ago.
It happens to all of us. And the really fascinating thing from the research here is that the slowness usually has, almost nothing to do with how many words you know.
Wait, really? That feels so counterintuitive.
It is. You can memorize the entire dictionary and still have that spinning wheel.
Because we all think, if I just knew more words, I'd be fluent. But the sources are saying the problem is actually your processing method.
It's the architecture, not the bricks. Specifically, the sources identify the main villain of the story. The translation loop.
Okay, let's unpack that. The translation loop. I think I'm definitely guilty of this. The sources use a really simple example, right?
Yeah, a super simple one. Like, imagine someone just asks you, what time is it?
Okay.
Now, if you're stuck in that loop, you're running this whole 4-step marathon in your head. Step 1, you hear the English sounds.
Right.
Step 2, you translate those sounds into your native language to actually understand them.
Mm-hmm.
Step 3, you think of the answer in your native language. And then step 4, you have to translate that answer back into English before you can speak.
Wow. When you lay it out like that, step by step, it just sounds exhausting.
It is exhausting. Okay. It's biologically expensive for your brain. The text calls this cognitive load. Imagine your working memory. The part of your brain dealing with right now is like a small desk.
Okay, picturing a small school desk.
Exactly. And if you're doing all that translation back and forth, your desk is just completely covered in paperwork. There's literally no space left to, listen or think about pronunciation or just be present.
That explains the brain fog. After an hour of trying to speak another language, I feel like I need a nap. My desk is a total mess.
Precisely. You've burned all your mental fuel on translating. So the mission here is to figure out how to clean off that desk. We need to kill the middleman.
Killing the middleman. I like it. A bit aggressive, but I get it. And the middleman is our native language.
Yes. The old way is native word equals English word. The new way, the direct association method, is real object equals English word.
So you're wiring the visual input directly to the English output, just skipping your native language completely.
Correct. You want the image of, say, an apple to trigger the word apple immediately, not the word for apple in your language first.
So the sources have an exercise for this, mental labeling. It sounds almost too simple. You just walk around your room and name things.
It sounds simple, but you have to be disciplined. You look at a table and you don't think your native word. You just hit it with the English label. Table, window, phone.
I actually tried this earlier today just to test it out, and it was going fine until I looked at my stapler and I stared at it. I knew what it was, but the word stapler just wasn't there. My first instinct was to grab my phone and look it up.
And that is the trap. The sources are so strict about this. The moment you stop to look up a word in the bilingual dictionary, what have you just done?
You brought the middleman back.
You've reactivated the whole translation loop.
But isn't it better to know the right word? I mean, I want to learn what a stapler is called.
You can learn it later.
Mm-hmm.
But in this specific exercise, the goal isn't vocabulary. The goal is processing speed. It's about building English momentum. If you see a bird and don't know the specific name, just think bird. If you don't know stapler, think office thing.
Just keep moving.
Keep the flow going. You're training the engine right now, not painting the car.
That's a really important distinction. Okay, so that's the foundation, labeling nouns. But we can't just walk around shouting table, chair, forever.
Right. That brings us to the next phase, integration. We have to move from static objects to actions. The technique for this is called the narrator.
This one, I have to admit, this one feels a little strange.
It can at first, yes.
The idea is you narrate your own life like a documentary. I am walking to the kitchen, I am opening the fridge, the water is cold.
Exactly. You're doing self-talk. And there's real science here. First, it's kinesthetic learning. You're physically connecting the movement of walking with the words, I am walking.
So it makes the language stickier.
Much stickier. But the second reason is even more important. It has to do with something called the affective filter.
Oh, this is Dr. Crescen's theory, right?
Yes. Think of the affective filter as a kind of mental wall. When you're stressed or anxious or afraid of sounding stupid, that wall goes way up.
Which is basically anytime I try to speak a new language with another person.
Exactly. And when that filter is high, new language can't get in, and the language you know can't get out. It's why you can practice a sentence perfectly alone, but the second a waiter looks at you, your mind goes blank.
The filter just slams shut. So the narrator technique is a way to hack that.
It's a safety zone. When you're alone, talking to your coffee machine, your stress level is 0. The filter is down. You're building all these neural pathways without any of the panic.
I love that. And it connects to another big point the sources make, the London myth. This idea that you have to move to an English-speaking country to really get it.
It's a huge misconception. You can live in London for 10 years and still be inside a total buttle of your native language.
And the reverse is also true.
100%.
Yeah.
You can create your own personal immersion bubble anywhere, narrating your life, labeling your room.
Yeah.
You're basically turning your apartment into a tiny English-speaking country.
Speaking of immersion, let's talk about our phones. The sources have a dangerous tip, changing your phone's language setting to English.
This is the one that always scares people.
It scares me. I'm terrified I'll accidentally delete all my contacts or something.
It's scary for about 2 days, but it works because it relies on implicit memory and contextual learning.
Okay, break that down. Why does changing a setting help me think?
Well, think about how you use your phone. You don't actually read the word settings every time, do you?
No, I just know the gear icon. My thumb just goes there.
Exactly. So when you switch the language, you're still clicking the same places. But now your eyes are passively seeing settings, general, display, low battery. The context is already there, so your brain just absorbs the English label.
It's like tricking your brain into learning.
It is. After a week, words like cancel or search become invisible. You don't translate them, you just know them. And that's the definition of thinking in English.
I like that. Okay, so we've covered objects, actions, tech, but what about, the internal stuff, feelings? The sources mention an opinion layer.
Yes. Life isn't just I am walking, it's I am walking and I'm tired. For this, the sources suggest a technique called facial visualization.
This sounded a bit like method acting to me.
It kind of is. Instead of translating the word happy from your language, you should actually smile. Feel the physical sensation of smiling and link that feeling directly to the word happy.
So if I'm cold, I shouldn't think of my word for cold. I should focus on the shiver, the goosebumps, and attach the English word cold to that physical feeling.
Exactly. You're bypassing the dictionary completely. It creates a much deeper, more emotional connection.
Okay, so we're building this English brain. But eventually, we have to face the final boss.
The big boss. Speaking to other people.
This is where it all gets real, foreign language anxiety. The sources have some really clever strategies for this. The first one is called chunking, or the Lego strategy.
This is based on Miller's law in psychology. Basically, our short-term working memory, that desk we talked about, can only hold about 7 pieces of information at once.
7? That is not a lot.
It's not. So if you're trying to say, I would like a cup of coffee, and you're building it word by word, that's like 6 or 7 separate items.
Yeah.
Your brain's RAM is already maxed out.
And if the barista asks a follow-up question, you just crash. No space left.
You screen freeze. But with chunking, you learn, I would like a as one single sound, one block.
So I would like a is just one item in your memory.
Yes. So now, I would like a cup of coffee is just 2 chunks. You have 5 whole slots left in your memory to actually listen and think.
That is a game changer. It means we should focus on learning phrases, not just individual words.
Pre-made walls. the text calls them. Don't build the wall brick by brick every time. Just grab a pre-made section. Learn I'm interested in as a single unit.
But what happens when you don't have the right chunk? You're in a restaurant and you forget a specific word, like napkin. This is where I'd freeze.
The dictionary trap again.
Yeah,
and the moment you grab your phone, you've broken the immersion. You've told your brain, we can't survive without our native language.
So what's the alternative?
Circumlocution.
Fancy word.
It just means talking around the problem.
Yeah.
If you forget napkin, don't panic. Just describe it. Say, can I have the paper for cleaning my mouth?
The paper for cleaning my mouth. It sounds a bit like a caveman, but...
But the waiter will understand you. And more importantly, you solved the problem in English. You kept the English switch on. That is a huge win for your brain.
It builds confidence, the idea that I can explain my way out of this.
Exactly. You forget refrigerator, you call it the big cold box for food. It's about communication, not perfection.
We have one more technique, and this one's about the music of the language, shadowing.
Shadowing is fantastic, but it's often done wrong. People think it means listen, pause, then repeat. That's just repetition.
So how is shadowing different?
It's simultaneous. You listen to a speaker like us on this deep dive, and you speak along with them, just a split second behind, like an echo.
So you're kind of overlapping with them.
Yes, you're surfing their sound wave. And you're not just copying the words, you're copying the emotion, the rhythm, the pitch. It forces your mouth to dance to the music of English.
It builds the muscle memory for the flow of it.
It does. So you don't sound like a GPS voice.
Okay, before we wrap up, I want to touch on something the sources call the intermediate plateau, because this is where I think a lot of people quit. You know, you feel like you're just not getting any better.
This is the danger zone. When you're a beginner, progress is so obvious. I learned 10 new words. But later on, progress feels invisible.
The sources reframe this in a really encouraging way. They say it's not a stall, it's consolidation.
Yes. Your brain is moving all that knowledge from your conscious mind, where it's hard work, to your unconscious mind, where it becomes automatic.
So that feeling of being stuck is actually the sound of your brain doing the heavy lifting in the background.
Exactly. It's hardwiring the habit. If you feel stuck, it often means the new system is becoming permanent, so don't stop.
That is such a crucial shift in perspective. Don't quit right before it all clicks into place.
Right.
So let's bring this all together. We have a clear roadmap.
We do. You start with the foundation. Kill the middleman by labeling objects directly.
Then integration. Narrate your life to lower that affective filter and hack your phone.
And finally, fluency strategies. Use chunking to save brain space and circumlocution, the big cold box method, to solve problems in real time.
It's a whole system. And the biggest takeaway for me is that thinking in English isn't some magical talent. It's just a habit. It's built through these small daily actions.
Absolutely. And that brings us to a final thought, which is about identity.
It's a really profound idea.
When you start truly thinking in a new language, when you feel emotions directly in English, you're not just learning a skill, you're sort of building a new version of yourself, a new internal voice.
A new internal world. You might even find you're a little different in English, maybe more direct or funnier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the real question isn't just, how do I learn English? It's, who is this new version of me going to be? And that's a pretty exciting thing to explore.
I love that. Thank you all for listening to this deep dive into the English brain.
Happy learning!
See you next time.